What are the intestacy rules? Hi, I'm Kimberly Shackrock, qualified chartered accountant, property investor and entrepreneur. Let's sit down and have a chat. What are the intestacy rules? Well, the intestacy rules are the rules that kick in when a deceased person does not have a will in place. So if you don't get a will sorted and put your wishes down in writing and legally signed off, then this is where we will end up. The intestacy rules specifically dictate what will happen to a person's estate and how it will be distributed if this will is not in place. The rules themselves prioritise spouses or civil partners initially, followed by children and then other relatives. And finally, if there are no relatives, then it will pass to the Crown. So let's have a look at the order that things go and what values will be passed to the different persons in an estate. Our starting point with anything with the intestacy rules is, are they married or are they not married? So have they got a spouse or civil partner? If they have a spouse or civil partner, the surviving spouse will inherit the entire estate if the value of the entire estate is less than certain thresholds, which is around 300,000 at this point in time. If the estate's worth more than this, then the surviving spouse will inherit the first 300,000 and a proportion of the rest of the estate. We then move forward onto the next, and if there is no surviving spouse, then we move into children. Does the person who has passed away have any surviving children? And the children inherit an estate equally. So if there's one child, they inherit all of it. If there is 2, 3, 4 children, then it'll be half, a third, a quarter, as is appropriate with numerical sums. If these children haven't survived, but they have had children, so the deceased person's grandchildren, then the grandchildren will inherit their parents' proportion, again in equal quantities. So it could get a little bit complex depending the family situation and who has survived who and who is still remaining within the family. If there are no surviving spouses or children, then we go in a different direction and it goes to other relatives in a specific order, which incorporates parents, siblings, half-siblings, grandparents, aunts, uncles, their children, half aunt, half uncles and their children. So as you can see, it goes quite far reaching depending on what the position is with the family. And as we have said, if there are no surviving family members or relatives, then it is inherited by the Crown, which is the Duke of Cornwall or the Duke of Lancaster. Some additional points to just note is it isn't always quite as straightforward as those rules because we do have things that are owned in different ways. So if you do have any joint ownerships of, say, property that is a joint ownership, not tenants in common, then that property will pass to the other joint owner regardless of the intestacy rules. And this is an automatic transfer to the remaining joint owner. A very important point to note is if you are living with someone and you are not married, then there is no automatic right to receive anything on their passing. And this is one of the danger areas in society where potentially less people are getting married at times. And if you are living with someone, then if you don't own it jointly and you want to leave it to that person, then you may need to be looking at how that fits together, because a live-in partner, whichever direction, male, female, will always not be in any line of inheritance or anything through the intestacy rules. This may be a reason why people do get wills, because they do actually want to leave it to their partner, even though they've not actually got married and signed on that dotted line. There are also occasions where there is partial intestacy, and this is where the will may specifically state certain assets or specific items, but if it doesn't cover all of the items that are included within the person's estate, for example, if it doesn't say the remaining part of my estate will have this happen to it, and it just leaves these things will go to these people, full stop, nothing mentioned about remaining estate assets, then the remaining estate will then follow the intestacy rules. So as you can appreciate, this might get quite complicated depending how it fits together. So I suppose the key planning point here is definitely to have a will in place so that things will go to where you want, and make sure it covers anything and everything that you do have, so that there is no question mark of what is going to happen, even if it's and the remaining estate will pass to my children equally. It doesn't matter what is in the remaining estate, it's just that you've actually stated what wants to happen with your remaining estate, and then that can be dealt with by the executors of the will. Obviously, if you are happy for your estate to potentially just go to your spouse or to go to your spouse and children, you may say, well, I don't really need to do anything, and the intestacy rules work for you. However, for many people, and especially those in property, the issue is we probably don't just have a house and some cash, and our estates may be worth a little more, especially if there is rental property. So it's just very key that you potentially do put a will in place, because then that will give the executors of the will or the administrators of your estate the ability to make sure things end up where you are wanting them to go. And this is just a key part to obviously support and help your family when you are potentially no longer around. In addition to the practicalities of having a will in place and making sure things end up in the right place, it also allows you to do some inheritance tax planning. So it's kind of a key point that you can do a bit of planning, figure out what you want to leave to a spouse, figure out what you want to leave to children, business partners, or different people that are in your life that you are working with or that you care about. And it makes sure that things go to the right people, and also hopefully they are minimising any inheritance tax that may still be payable. When you're writing your will, you may just want to ensure you're using an appropriate person, whether this be a solicitor or a will writer, just to ensure that everything is covered and there is nothing that is going to be kicked out should there be any contesting of the will. As we're mentioning about wills, it may be just that you need to consider whether your will's up to date, and if you did write it 5-10 years ago, you may just want to have a check that it's still relevant and are correct. Obviously things change, especially those that are in property that may still be buying and doing different things with their portfolio. So just ensure that you are still happy with it. And obviously if you don't have a will in place, as we've discussed today, the intestacy rules will kick in for your estate. Hopefully today you've discovered what the intestacy rules are and how they fit together. So if you don't have a will in place, what will happen to your estate, or what will happen to your family member's estate? If you have any questions, then please do leave a comment. Please like the video and do subscribe to the channel. And let's make tax less taxing.